What's up, crypto fam? It's Phantom. Taking a look at the markets, see what kind of news we got in the crypto space today. Little dog looks like it wants to get in the action. So it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good stream. Hopefully she'll help pump Bitcoin some. Looking to start off at the Fear and Greed Index, we're at 22. We've just chilled there from yesterday. Obviously, we're down from last week. That's to be expected with all the fear in the market and Bitcoin's price dropping. This is kind of normal behavior. So I think it really, the needle didn't move on it simply because there's not even much volume going on in the Bitcoin space today. It's very, very, very slow. So this doesn't surprise me to see. If we look at Bitcoin on a daily, you can see that yesterday was less than half the volume of Friday. So we're just kind of chilling out, I think, before we make another type of move. We did at least hold at my supported trend line, which is good news. Holding trend lines is bullish behavior. So I'm hopeful. I think that we do need some better news coming out to the space to kind of get this going. It would be nice if the weekly closed bullish, but that's me hoping for the best. So I'll be keeping an eye out, keeping a close watch, but I'm thinking we get at least past the 40K mark and start, if I'm thinking hopefully at least starting to push this resistance tomorrow and for the close of the weekly. We got 20 hours left, almost 29 hours left, so I think we can do it. I think we can close this candle. If we close it anywhere near this resistance structure, if we close above it, even better, right? But if we can close somewhere in this resistance structure, I'm going to see that as very bullish. So we had decent volume over the week, which is expected. There's volatility in the space just because of all of the news events with Russia and Ukraine coming out. That said, when Bitcoin tends to move sideways and kind of consolidate before its next move, I use it as a time to educate myself on different trading strategies. I use it to invest in things that will grow. For example, scooping up some one tokens, moving them over to Joule and into DeFi Kingdoms, and farming them, staking coins. I stake all my Cardano. Obviously not financial advice, but I think staking and educating yourself are the best things to do when the markets just kind of move boring sideways. A lot of people try to play the ups and downs of this volatility, and it's really dangerous. Bitcoin will give a clear direction soon. It goes through this sideways consolidation for an annoying amount of time before it makes a move. You can see it. Let me draw it out for you. Here, this is a month of consolidation, sideways movement. This is 2 months of sideways consolidation. Another month sideways. Just over a month. So the sideways consolidation is generally a good thing for bullish momentum to the upside. What you have to be aware of is it's just going to sit at this for longer than anybody wants. So use that time to educate yourself, to learn the crypto space, to learn different trading strategies, to create a plan on what you'd be happy selling at, what you'd be happy buying in at, how much you can afford to lose. Create that plan, because when Bitcoin does start moving, it moves fiercely. And having a plan in place you won't feel like you're taking as much risk. It'll be a controlled investment, and you won't be so anxious because you'll have a plan for what happens for the good and the bad. Even if we buy in, around this level, part of the plan is setting up stop losses to get out if it does move in a direction we don't expect. Where we can buy at a lower level after that, stop losses for that. Where we start creating our take profit 1, take profit 2 areas. For me, I'll for sure take some profits in these resistance zones. And if it continues to look bullish, then, we load back up once it's cracked through it and it continues to the upside. There's nothing wrong with taking money out of the market in the green. That's the goal. That's what we're here for. I think statistically, the best investment strategy is to, quite honestly, throw your money into projects that you have a lot of belief and you've educated yourself on and you think we're going to do well, and then put it on a ledger device or some type of hardware wallet and lose the key for 5 years. It's one of the strongest strategies out there to date, just buying weekly and just storing it off somewhere where it's not going to be touched and not going to be looked at. So that's a little bit of a ramble, but that's what I'm doing at this time, and it's kind of what my suggestion is for anybody that follows me. So we do have some good news in the space. Cardano has seen huge increases to its transaction volume, and their fees are minute compared to other blockchains. So they shared their Argo DEX, which is going to have decentralized exchange functions. A DEX is a great way to do some staking, to provide liquidity, and you actually earn the rewards based off of people buying and selling on the exchange. Usually the exchanges keep those fees, but in a decentralized exchange, whoever's providing the liquidity keeps the fees. So this is a very, very, very bullish event that's going to be happening for Cardano. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Cardano has become the most used blockchain in the space, and it has the lowest fees in the space. It also has the most developer commits. You can obviously watch their Git. It's one of the most active developer communities, even though it does use Haskell, and I know a lot of people are against Haskell just because it doesn't have mass adoption. But speaking as a developer for 10 years, it allows you to write high assurance code, and that's desperately needed. There's so many bugs and issues found after items get into production when it's damage has been done and you're more or less recovering from that damage. Being able to write high assurance code is invaluable in today's day and age, right? So I'm a fan of Cardano. I'm a fan of what they're about. They're not about what their price is at any given time. They're about building a quality product and people will come. Kind of like the Field of Dreams. So I'm a big fan of Cardano. I own quite a bit, full disclosure. Not as many as a lot of people in the Twitter space. I own, I think, what a normal individual would own. But I've been staking it since I was able to. I do know that Gal Gadot came out as a fan of Cardano, which is always great. I mean, Wonder Woman backing Cardano should be a big plug, right? So, yeah. On other news, Binance USD surpassed USDC, which is a kind of a surprise. I've been looking into this for some time. There's a chart, or there's a event where you can watch how many people are getting into stablecoins over time. And there's obviously correlation. It's a bullish event when you see new tether being printed, anything like that, where stable coins are having to put more money into the market, and their use is, obviously buying other cryptocurrencies. So if there's enough volume that people are wanting to buy stablecoin to then throw into cryptocurrencies and not just keeping, the USDC wallet, that's bullish behavior, because that money's leaving to purchase other cryptocurrencies much of the time. So whenever you see on Twitter that Tether's printing more money, that's generally a bullish sentiment, bullish behavior. So it's something to pay attention to. So yeah, I'm thinking we're going to be okay. It's just going to be a longer road than people expected to get the bull market that we've all been waiting for. So, good and bad news, I guess. There's people that are feeling the pain that, did buy the top, and I feel bad. I've been there before. It was back in 2017. I've learned from those mistakes, and I've learned to take profits. I've learned to, when I do buy low, take some profits. I let some ride. I know a lot of people strategize around buying low, taking profits when you get your money back, and then anything extra, just kind of let it ride. It really depends on your plan, your trading strategy. So the last article that I found interesting is the best is yet to come, what's next for blockchain and the creator economy. So there's a lot of fear and excitement in the market. COVID is kind of calming down. People are getting back to going into the office. Movie theaters are starting to open again. Concerts are starting to be more of a thing. Mask mandates are dropping everywhere. So people are going to start getting out into the real world again, and that makes some fear with streaming services, with gaming, that less time will be spent in front of screens. And it makes absolute sense, right? That said, I think blockchain has developed, has put a lot of time in while COVID was going on, making the proper investments, pushing the right development forward, where this can be more integrated into daily lives. But not only that, COVID's allowed us to kind of socialize from distance. Digital concerts, watch parties, things like this, where you don't necessarily have to go out and spend a ton of money to have, a great night with family, friends from anywhere in the world. Obviously, there's still huge gains going out and seeing people, going out for drinks, going out for a movie, going out for dinner, date nights, things like that. But in today's world, people are kind of spreading out, doing their own thing. A lot of people have different ambitions, different goals. They don't want to lose their friendships that they've created, right? In college or high school or at work. And I think the space that's been created during the pandemic is going to be a great resource to keep those people in communication, keep those people in contact, let those type of social structures continue to exist and thrive just in a digital space. When computers were first created, the dream was that you could buy your movie tickets on a personal computer, or you could send emails or messages. But what it allowed you to do is more from home. It was more geared to just getting the start to events or working from home anywhere in the world. But I think with Web3, it's moved into a space where people can start to live a social life online. I fear that it could have the opposite effect, that people aren't really expecting, for lack of a better, I'm trying to phrase it in a way that, kind of like Ready Player One, right? When people just are completely absorbed in another world, and you don't really have any type of human interaction. But at the end of the game, he realizes that, that's still important. One of Halliday's biggest thing is, there's the real world is real, and you can only get great pizza, by going out and getting it, or having it delivered in today's space. But I think a lot of our societal needs will be met in an online space. I think that's where we're moving. And that's why I'm so invested into a lot of the platforms that support that, like Mana with Decentraland, Sand with Sandbox, DeFi Kingdom, and Jewel. I think that the digital space is going to be bigger than anybody expects. So it's something that I've invested in heavily, that I will put my dollars towards. Obviously, not financial advice. You do your own research. You create your own plans and ideas and thoughts. But I think we're just on the cusp, like the very early parts of something big coming from this. So that's all I've got today for as far as news events. I'll be watching Bitcoin closely. I think that we can push close to this resistance zone before the weekly close. I'm hoping we don't make continuation to the downside. I hope we don't break this trend line on the weekly level. If we do, I think it's good night till the 29-30K region. So praying that the support holds. I put a picture on Twitter with Wreck-It Ralph holding it up. Any extra strength we can get to solidify this support trend line would be great. That said, I'm still biased on the bullish side. That's what the chart says to me, at least. So I guess it's not a bias, it's more, that's what I'm reading from the chart. So obviously type stop losses in place, because you can be wrong. But looking at the chart, I think this is healthy. This is the sideways consolidation, kind of that we've had before big moves. I'm hoping, it's not one of these moves where it's a move to the downside, that it's one of these moves, or this move, where we start to move to the upside. So that's my thoughts, that's my ideas. That's what I'll be following as part of my plan. I'd be interested to hear yours if anybody disagrees or thinks differently, or would like something researched. Please give me a shout, follow, give a comment. Be happy to look into it. I love hearing different ideas, especially ones that are different from mine. I think it's a way that we grow and learn from each other. Different ideas and diversity of thought are extremely valuable today. So that's all I have for today. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. I hope you have a kick-ass Sunday. Until then, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.